Okay, so we have about, let's say about 15% of the audience. So here is a good news for you guys, that what you're going to need to pass the FRM exams, they don't expect you to have very fancy maths skills, right? You're not supposed to do too much of differential calculus or any of that stuff. Of course, if you know it, it's a big advantage. But what they basically need is they appreciate that all the equations these days could be fairly easily solved with the help of calculators or computers, or you can write a script and get it done. Um, so they want more or less an ability from you to analyze and interpret the data. Okay, so that's where the major emphasis is going to be. So what I will do in today's session is build a very nice and sweet background on what statistics really is and what areas we would be studying within the FRM part 1. So let me get started with some basic idea with statistics. So very loosely speaking, what do you really think of statistics is? It's just statistics, your business is about the data, right? That's what you want to do. That you have some data points that you want to work with. And from these data points, you want to do two things. And either you want to describe the data points, or you want to you want to infer something from the data points. So when we say describe something, what it simply means is, it means, let's say, when I asked you that how many of you are worried about statistics. So I give you statistics. I give you a number that about 15% of the class participants are worried. So look at the beauty of that. One single number describes the characteristics of all the participants who are participating today, right? So that is what you mean by describe. Now within description, we generally look at two primary moments. So we would look at measures of central tendency. It's kind of a fancy statistical word, but measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. Okay, so we would mostly be working on these numbers here. So how do you want to think of this? If this is your, this is your data point, for example, let's say, let me draw it here. So let's assume that, okay, so let's assume that this is your cluster of data. Okay, you have some random data points with you. What would be a measure of central tendency? So you want to kind of get a sense on that one single number, that can describe the entire data set. So it could typically be mean, it could be median, it could be mode. We would look at those points. And what would be dispersion? What would be measures of dispersion? So if you have data points, let's say one data set looks like this. So for example, example could be as easy as the average age of candidates taking FRM part 1 exam, right? And if you plot all that age, maybe it will look like this. So maybe we will see that a lot of people, somewhere, let's say in their 30s would probably sign up for an exam like this. As against that, if you look at, let's say, average age of people, who go bungee jumping, just making something random, and then you would see that people of all ages do it. I mean, I remember when I was trying to do that stupidity with myself. I was in South Africa that time. I could see there was a guy who was almost 60, 65-year-old, trying to jump out of that bridge. So if you have data like this, which is, high volatility, then we will say that this data looks, much more compressed together, whereas this data point seems to have a higher level of volatility. So we typically measure that with the measures of dispersion. And then how about inferences? Like, what do you want to infer? So very, very, in a very simple language, you want to draw conclusions. You want to draw conclusions based on the data that you have and probably take decisions. So for example, at the introduction today, Ronja speak about how Bajaj Finance is leveraging on data analytics, right? So how how could a bank or a NBFC leverage on data points? So it could be as simple as that. Let's say, I take a loan from someone, and I take a loan from some other bank, and I somehow there was a delay in payment in the first month, for whatever reason. Now this data point gets stored. Maybe it affects my credit score or whatever. And next time, if I apply for a loan with, let's say Bajaj Finance, then outrightly they're going to say no to me because maybe I have a bad credit score. So that's a data point that is helping them take a decision on whether loan should be given or not. Or maybe on a broader level, how a bank would think is, a bank would think that we don't want to give loan, uh, to employees of only a particular sector. For example, let's say the risk management guy in a bank identifies that we're giving loans to retail people. So on the face of it, it looks like a retail loan. Retail loan means loan given to individual or small businesses. But it looks like most of the consumers who are taking loan from us, uh, they happen to work with steel industry or something to do with steel. So then again, there's an element of risk. So then what do we need to do is, going forward, we eliminate loans given to anyone in that sector and probably look at something else so that we diversify ourselves. So that's again drawing inferences out of your data points. Okay, so that's a very broad way of how you want to think of statistics. And then what we'll do is we'll start doing some numbers. Okay, so first number that I want to do with you, it's pretty simple. It's called an arithmetic mean. We probably did this when we were in schools. So let's say we have a data point of, if you guys have calculator, that will help. If you don't have it, use your mobile phone, use Excel, whatever that works for you. Let's say we have data points like this: 20, 10, 15, -5, and 6. Now, based on these 5 data points, can you figure out what would be an arithmetic mean here? How do you calculate an arithmetic mean? So you just take the numbers, add them up, divide with the observation. So we'll have 20 plus 10 plus 15 minus 5 plus 6 divided by 5. And there you go. You have 9.2 here. Now, what is this called? So statisticians would call this as a, there's this thing, right? Statisticians use fancy words. So they would call this as one of the measure of central tendency. So arithmetic mean is one of the measures of central tendency. Why? Because one single number summarizes everything for you. Okay, so that's what we call by AM. Now let's build on to it. Let us say you have invested into a hedge fund. And over a period of time, this is the return that you've earned. So let's say first year you earned a return of 10%. Second year you earned a return of 8%. Third year you earned 15%, and in the last year you've earned 6%. Now, based on this information, what I want you to calculate is a number called as geometric mean. Now it gets a little technical here, so I'm going to get slow with this concept. Geometric mean, GM, or if you feel that you don't know how to calculate geometric mean, just calculate a CAGR for this. What is a CAGR? CAGR stands for compounded annual growth rate. Compounded annual growth rate. So either calculate a geometric mean or calculate a CAGR for the data, which is given here. Get some calculator. If it's not available, use Excel. If it's not available, use your mobile phone. Hopefully something or the other will work for you. Guys, are we together? Are you doing it? I'm waiting for you to give me an answer. If you've seen my level 0 videos, you probably have already seen some calculations of this. I've got two answers so far, Ashutosh and Suyog. In fact, now I just got the third one, and it seems all the three answers are different. Ashutosh is giving me 12. Suyog is giving me 9. Sorry, Suyog has given me 5. Partha has given me 9. Siddharth is giving me 5.3 again. Shashwati, Anchal, Hemant, all of you are 9.2. Suraj is giving 5.3. This is, by the way, -8. 11.98 negative seems very unlikely. Okay, so here's how you do geometric mean. We will do it with two ways. One, we will do a formula. Second, I'll show you the logic in terms of how we do it. Let's do the formula first. So if you want to calculate a geometric mean, this is a formula you're going to use. You would say 1 plus 10%. Now, why do we need to add 1? Because when we do that, what we're simply saying is if I had $1, by the end of the year, it became $1.1, right? That's the whole idea. Multiplied with 1 minus 8%. 1 minus 8%. Why minus? Because we lost money. So if I had $1 by the end of the year, it must have become 0.92. Multiplied with 1 plus 15%, and multiplied with 1 plus 6%. So these are the four numbers you want to use. Now, since these are the four numbers and we want to take an average here, so what we will have to do is we will have to take a fourth root of these values. So we'll have to take a fourth root of these values. And finally, because we have added 1, we will also have to subtract that 1 from here so that we will get a correct answer. Okay, so let's do it together. Give me a minute. I'll also get my calculator, probably show it to you on the screen if it works. Just give me a minute, please. And you try solving this in the meanwhile. All right, so on your screen, I'm not sure if you can see my calculator now. So if my calculator is visible, I'm going to make use of the same equation. Just a minute, I will have to see the numbers myself. Okay, so what numbers do we have? Can you guys please confirm if my calculator is still visible to you? Okay. Thank you, Dashrath. All right then. So 1 plus 10% equal to, so that number becomes 1.1. Multiplied with 0.92. How did I get 0.92? That's 1 minus 8%. Multiplied with 1.15. So that's 1.1638. And multiplied with 1.06. So what number do I get? After having done all of this, I'm getting 1.23362, and I have to take a fourth root of this number. Now, how do you take fourth root? So if you can observe on my calculator, there's an under root button. Is my calculator visible to you on the screen? Okay. So there's an under root button. So I'm going to press the under root button twice. And when I press the under root button twice, I get the fourth root. And then what I'm getting is I'm getting 1.05. Correct. You you'd not be able to see both. So you'd probably able to just see my screen for a minute, but that's okay. You get to see the whole thing eventually. So 1.05389 minus 1, and that gives us final answer of 5.38 percentage. Okay, so that's your final answer. Now let me get my screen sharing back to normal, so you'll be able to see what I've written. Okay, here we go. Correct. Should I'll try to do it that way. Is this making sense? Do you think you handle this? Yes, no. Okay, is there a logical way to do it? Yes. So we can also approach this logically. Let's say for some reason you feel that you don't like the formula, and I myself don't like the formulas. I hate the formulas. So can I do it without using any formula? Yes, I can. How will I do it? So let us say I'm a very modest investor and I have only 100 Indian rupees with me to invest. And these are the returns I've earned in my hedge fund over a period of time. Okay, if they accept my investment. So what I'll do is I'll take this 100, and for 1 year, my 100 gets invested at the rate of 10 percentage. So can you tell me if 100 gets invested at the rate of 10 percentage, how much does it become at the end of first year? 110, right? And then this 110 gets invested at the rate of negative 8 percentage for a year. So can you please do 110 minus 8 percentage? And what you get then is 101.2. So see what's happening to you. Unfortunately, you lost 8 percentage this year. So your 110 became 101.2. Then the third year, so this is the third year you get 15% on the amount invested. So plus 15 percentage, and then you get 116.8. And finally, in the last year, how much you got? So in the last year, 116.38 gets invested at the rate of 6 percentage. So plus 6 percentage. And the final amount is coming out to be, it's coming out to be 123.62. You can do it on any calculator, even a simple calculator on your mobile phone. It should tell you that by the end of fourth year, your 100 would have become 123. So how much money have you really earned? How much have you really earned on this investment? So 123.62 divided by 100, because 100 is what I started with. And since it happened in 4 years, so fourth root minus 1. So even this formula will work. So let me show you on my calculator. Let's see if that works. So just a minute. Okay, you might be able to see my calculator now. So I have 123.36 on my screen divided by 100. So I get 1.23. Now on my calculator, in the fourth row, second column, you would be able to see under root X button. So I'm pressing that once, pressing that twice. So I'm getting 5.1.053. Once I say minus 1, you'd observe that I'm getting 0.053, and 0.05 is nothing but 5.38 percentage. Is making sense to you? So what geometric mean really is this formula. And what CAGR is, CAGR stands for Compounded Annual Growth Rate in Finance, is this formula. And these two are actually the same thing, just done in a different way. So in finance, what CAGR we use, the compounded annual growth rate that we use, in statistics, we call the same number as the geometric mean. That's how you want to think of these numbers. Okay, would you like to ask any questions, or do you have any queries here? I'll request you to raise hands, and then you can ask whatever you'd like to ask. Or if you want to put it on the chat box, put it there. Since these are early days and I do not know your level, I'm starting at absolute basic level of statistics. Some of you may find this too basic, some of you might find this useful, but eventually will grow in the level. Will raise to 0.25 also works as the fourth root? The answer is yes. Fourth root will also work as a calculator. Can I please repeat on how to calculate using calculator? Sure, Ankita. So I'm going to repeat how to do it on a calculator. I started with 100, then I said plus 10%. Maybe I'll show you on how I did it on my calculator. Maybe let me put the calculator on screen. Now the calculator that I'm using, that's the official app from the Texas Instruments. If you have an Apple product, like typically if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you can buy it somewhere in the range of $20, a little less than $20, I guess. And if you have an Android, you'd find a similar app. I mean, not an original app, but a similar app free of cost. Like some of the other guys must have made apps like this. So here's what I'm doing. Observe carefully. 100 plus 10% equal to, so that became 110. Minus 8% equal to, that became 101.2. Plus 15% equal to became 116.38. Plus 6% equal to became 123.62. Right? Now this number 123.62, I'm going to divide with 100. So divided by 100. So we get 1.23. And now what I want to do is I want to take the fourth root. So one way of getting fourth root is I can press under root button twice. So let me press it twice. So we get 1.05, and I will have to deduct one, Mohit, because we have added one, right? We added one everywhere. So we'll have to deduct one. So minus one, and that's how we get 0.0538, which is nothing but 5.38%. Calculator is not showing real time. Okay. My apologies for that. I think that's because there's a little, I'm trying to broadcast this wirelessly. It seems there's a little lag with that. Okay, I'll see if I can fix that in the next question. Now, do you want to practice a little more on geometric mean? If yes, you can just raise your hand so I'll understand. Hey, Gideon, hi. All right, but let's do some practical example now. So since we were talking about Bajaj, this is my, I'll just keep it like this for a while. Let's go look up what the stock has really done for investors. Okay, so it's a Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Bajaj Finance history. Okay, we'll try to get some historical data of this particular stock. And with what frequency? Let's take, I know annual would have been nice. In fact, that would have been easier. Okay, let's take monthly frequency for let us say last 6 months. Okay, so monthly frequency for last 6 months, and let us calculate now. Okay, download. So here's what I have now. I have data of this particular company called Bajaj Finance. It's a finance sector company in India. And the data is from the month of February to June. Hopefully all of you can see my Excel file. And we have open, high, low. So I don't need any of that. I'm going to delete that. And then we have the close values or adjusted close values. And volume is also not required. So this is the only thing that I need. So what we have is we have monthly prices. And the first, so we had a price of 44.55 in February, and look at the massive, massive reduction in the price. From 4,400 it fell down to 2,200, right? And then in April 2,300, in May it fell down further to 2,000. June it recovered to 2,300, and then it is at 2,390 as of 5th of June. So what I will do is I will calculate the returns on this data. Okay, these are now monthly returns. And how would I calculate monthly returns? So typically just the difference of these two prices minus 1. Now don't worry about this part just yet. So these are the monthly returns here, and let's keep them rounded. Okay, so let's round them off, and we have 5 data points now. So what are the 5 data points? That on the Bajaj Finance stock, these are the returns that we've earned. So in 1 month we had minus 50%, then we had 5%, then we had minus 13, then we had 15%, and we had 3%. Now, based on this information, calculate a monthly return, a geometric mean of these numbers. And what I'll suggest is you simply use a formula to calculate geometric mean, which I taught you on the previous screen. It's going to be a negative return that clearly is observable, because if you were an investor and if you were to invest in this stock in the month of February, you would buy it for 4,400, and today it is 2,300. So clearly, you're not going to be very happy with it. Okay, all right, here's how you do it. If you want to calculate geometric mean for these 5 numbers, then that's how we're going to do this. Okay, how will we do it? Look at my calculations. 1 minus 50% multiplied with 1 plus 5% into 1 minus 30% into 1 plus 15%. So even though initially it will look kind of stupid, or it would look a little strange, but after a while you'll be able to build affinity with these numbers. And this would be 1 plus 3%. So these are my returns. Now, how many data points do I have? I have 5 data points. So that means I'll have to take the 5th root of these, right? So we'll have to take a 5th root. So we will take a 5th root of these numbers, and then we will say minus 1. So how to do this on the calculator? Let me show it to you on my calculator here. Let me just try and get that calculator screen. Okay, just a minute. Okay, here we go. So this is my calculator. I'm not sure it will work real time, but I will try. Okay. So 1 minus 50% equal to, so that became 0.5. multiplied with 1.05. Okay, why 1.05? Because 1 plus 5% would be 1.05. Multiplied with 0.87. How did I get 0.7? That's 1 minus 13%. Multiplied with 1.15. Multiplied with 1.03. So the numbers that I'm getting here is 0.5410, and of course this is under root. I have to take the fifth root and then I have to deduct 1. Now to take the fifth root, is it okay? You guys tell me, is it okay if I can write? Now there's a little bit of math here, and it's okay if you've completely forgotten, it will come back to you. Is it okay if I just say raised to? Is it okay if I just say raised to 1 by 5? Do you think is the same number if I just say raised to 1 by 5? Yes, mathematically the same. Taking fifth root is same as keeping that in the exponent but in the denominator -1. So in my calculator, I have that feature which you would also get if you have a Texas calculator. Y raised to x, bracket open, 1 divided by 5, bracket close. So that will show you that it is raised to 0.2 equal to -1 equal to. So when you do that, you would get minus 0.1156, and minus 0.1156 is nothing but 11.56% negative. So that is your return that you've earned on Bajaj Finance on a monthly basis by calculating the geometric mean. Do you want to practice more? Should we do one more? Yes, no. Okay, probably we'll do one more last question, considering that most of us are beginners in finance. Okay, guys, one last question. Let's think that we're doing this for people who are still learning. By the way, was there a shortcut to do it? Yes. I mean, if I had to do it fast here on Excel, here's how I'll do it. I'll just say bracket open, closing value divided by the opening value raised to 1 by 5. If I had to do it on Excel, -1, and there you go. I have the answer, which is minus 11.71%. So we could have do it. How to do it on the calculator? So let me quickly once on the calculator in terms of how I did that. This time I will do it fast. 0.5 multiplied with 1.05 multiplied with 0.87 multiplied with 1.15 multiplied with 1.03, and now this I have to take the raised to. So raised to bracket open 1 divided 5 bracket close. These are the bracket open and bracket close buttons. So is equal to, and then -1 is equal to. So you get the same. Okay, I think the answers are slightly different because of decimals. This is a more precise answer. Calculator is not precise because these numbers have some decimals here. So if I change this, the answer might change a little bit, but that's okay. We get the idea of. Okay, let's do one final question before we move on to the next category. We'll probably continue with the same example. But let's look at some of the mutual funds now, just for the fun of it. Can you guys give me names of some of your favorite mutual funds? Any mutual fund that you think you like? Okay. Okay, I'll just probably choose one of this randomly. Okay, Parag, since the name you've given is also happens to be one of my favorite asset management companies. I mean, companies that I like and admire. It's called Parag Parikh Mutual Fund, and let's see if we can get some data on them online. Morningstar might have some data. Money Control might have some data. Okay, let's look at value research. So this is a fairly solid asset management company in India, uh, and this is some of their returns. Now they've already given you some sort of a return data here, but we'll see if we can do that math ourselves. Yeah, these are the now values. Can you see the blue graph? So blue graph is some sort of valuation of these stocks. Let's pick up, let's pick up whatever few data points. So I want you to write down, please, somewhere. Write down the price of this mutual fund. If you were to buy this in 2015, one unit would have costed you 16.14. Okay, so if you 2015, write down 2015, this point, it was approximately 16. Now 2016, it became 17.51. So write down here, at this point, it became 17.51. So somewhere here, it became 17.51. Then 2017, it was close to 18.3. So let's write down 18.3. 2018, so this looked like a really good year for the markets and the fund. It was 24.28. So 24.28. All right, 2019, 23.20. 23.20. And 2020, the last data point here in our analysis. So somewhere here, it is 27.3. So 27.3. So these are your, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points. And how many years? So from here to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years in between. So here's what I want you to do now. I want you to calculate the geometric mean by using the process that I taught you, where you first calculate percentage return, but this time you do the return calculations yourself. Okay, so you calculate percentage return and then you calculate a geometric mean there, or use the shortcut that I taught you, which in finance we typically call as CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, and then see if you can calculate the CAGR for this Parag Parikh mutual fund investors. Okay, I'll give you, let's say, a couple of minutes to deal with this. Come on, guys, I'm waiting for you. Okay, let's do it together. So what's happening to our data here? In terms of timeline, we have time 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your starting point is 16. So let's say that's time 0. Then next year, your investment becomes 17.5. Then a year after that, your investment becomes 18.3. Year after that, your investment becomes 24.48. Year after that, your investment is 23.2. So you have a little bit of loss in this year. It seems like the prices dipped, but then there's a crazy jump in the final year and you reach to 23.7, 27.3. So technically your 16 has become 27 in this 5-year window. Now you want to figure out how much have you really earned. So there are two ways in which we can handle this. Here's the first way. The first way is kind of a shortcut, so as to say. And what is the shortcut? So it's really simple. You say my 16 became 27.30. So how can I directly get a CAGR? So 27.30, which is the amount that I had at the end of 5th year, divided by 16. But in how many years? In 5 years time, right? So a fifth root of these numbers, because it's for 5 years, and then minus 1. So if you do this, you'd realize that you'd get a super quick answer. Let's see if that works. So I'm firing up my calculator and I'll try to get that on the screen. How do I get it at the front of the screen? Just a minute. Okay, this is the calculator, and let me put it somewhere here. All right, maybe now everything will fit in. Okay, here we go. So these are the data points that we have. Let's start doing it together. So first I'm going to divide that 27.30 divided by 16. And we want fifth root. So this time I'm just going to say directly raised to 0.2. Fifth root is nothing but raised to 0.2 minus 1. And when I do that, I'm getting answer as 0.1127, and this is nothing but 11.27%. This is one way. Or if there's anyone who's finished the level 0 course of FinTree on the pre-recorded course, and if you know how to make use of this row. Okay, what is this row called on the calculator? This is the Texas calculator. And this row is called the time value of money row, including that second button. So if you use this is even simpler. So what you need to do using this row is set your present value to 16, set your future value to 27. Just tell your calculator that, see, my $16 have become, or my 16 rupees have become 27 rupees. In how many years? In 5 years. In how many years? In 5. 1 week, we'll talk about that. It should be 5. And what is the return I'm earning here? So compute IY. Those are the keys I'm going to use. If you know how to use it, otherwise, anyways, I'll be teaching you this in the next class. Okay, but I'll just give you a quick trailer of it. So I'm going to use that statistics now. 16 negative present value, 27.30 future value, and for how many years? 5. So 5 is n, and compute IY, and look at this, you get the answer 11.27%. So this is one way of doing it. Now, what could be the other way of doing it? So let's look at the other way now. The other way of doing it is we will have to calculate the returns manually. So how will we calculate returns manually? We will have to figure out what is the percentage return I've earned here. There are 6 data points. We will get 5 returns. Okay, so see how. 17.5 divided by 16 minus 1. So this is giving me 9.37% return. 18.3 divided by 17.5 minus 1. What I'm doing is I'm simply using closing value divided by opening value argument, right? It's simple. There's nothing complicated about this. It's like if you have 100 rupees and it became 105 in 1 year, then how much have you earned? Very simple. 105 divided by 100 minus 1, that's 5%. That's the argument I'm making here. So 18.3 divided by 17.5 minus 1, and this year we're getting a return of 4.57%. Next year, 24.48 divided by 18.3 minus 1. Here we got excellent return of 33.77%. So as an investor, these are the years that you cherish because look at the rate at which your money is compounded. Then 23.2 divided by 24.48 minus 1, closing by opening. So now we have a negative return of about 5.23%. And then the last year 27.3 divided by 23.2 minus 1. In the last year, we're getting 17.67%. So 6 years, but how many returns? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now with these 5 returns, okay, with these 5 returns, we're going to get the final answer. So sorry for clutter on my screen here. I kind of made this messy. Let's hope this makes sense. So second method now. 1 plus 9.37% multiplied with 1 plus 4.57% multiplied with 1 plus 33.77% multiplied with 1 minus and is this a correct number? 23.2 divided by 24.48. Okay, this I have written it incorrectly. This I'm going to do one more time. 23.2 divided by 24.48 minus 1. So this should have been minus 5.22%, not 0.52. So 1 minus 5.22%. And finally, this into 1 plus 17.67%. Okay, so there you go. That's your data point. And how many years? We have 5 years. So we have 5 years here. So this and minus 1. Let's see if the math works out for us. So 1.0937 multiplied with 1.0457 multiplied with 1.3377 multiplied with 1 minus 5.22% multiplied with 1.1767, and then to this data I'm going to do raised to 0.2. Raised to 0.2 is nothing but taking the 5th root minus 1, and to our surprise I'm getting the same answer of 1.27%. So that is your geometric mean, which is same as CAGR. The words in finance, you can use them interchangeably. You can either call them CAGR. You'd hear me referring to this number as CAGR. So a CAGR or this geometric mean, whichever way you do it, you get the same answer. Okay, so I'm going to shut up for a brief period now and let you guys do the talking. So if you have any queries, Any questions? You can either raise your hands. And I'll enable your audio, or otherwise, you can just put your queries on the chat box. Are you guys comfortable with this calculation now? Kunal, Raviraj. All right. So Joe is asking, can I explain the CAGR again? So what is CAGR? It's very simple. It's like I, I invest into this product and I pay $16. And after 5 years, I get this $27.30 or rupees, whatever denomination. So how much have I really earned? How much have I really earned on an annual basis, right? How much is that I'm making on a per annum basis? So per annum basis, I'm earning 11.27 percentage. Now, how can I calculate that? So I can say, okay, my 16 rupees became 27. So closing value comes in the numerator, and the opening value, that means the beginning value, that comes in the denominator. So 27 divided by 16. And since it happened on a window of 5 years, so we will say fifth root. And then we say -1. So that's the kind of a metric that we use. And when we do that, then we get the number of 11.27. That is your CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. So Deepika and Joe, hopefully this is all right with you guys. Can we use the TVM function to calculate CAGR every time? Yes, I think most of the time, Akshay, a TVM function will get you the answer. Okay, now what statistics I'm doing with you is really basic compared to the level where we have to reach, but we will go there slowly. So this is more like a warm-up session for us. If you're comfortable, we can move on to the third concept. So what have I done with you so far today is we've discussed what is an arithmetic mean, which is kind of very easy to calculate. We have done geometric mean. And now I want to take you to the third concept, if you guys are ready with it. Are you? Or do you want a break? We anyways have a short class. All right, let's postpone the break. Let's do one more calculation now. Let me throw the third concept of you, which would be called SRD. Let's do it a little later. Let's call this as the harmonic mean. All of these concepts they taught us in the school. Some of us remember them, some of us have happily forgotten. Harmonic mean. Now, what's an harmonic mean? So let's do a practical example. Have you guys heard of this word called SIP? Heard of SIP? Yep. SIP means systematic investment plan, right? Systematic investment plan. What does it mean? I mean, it's kind of fancy thing, but it simply means that I'm going to invest some amount. Let's say $1,000. I'm going to invest some amount every month or every year, right? So I'm going to invest some amount every month or every year. So this we refer to as systematic investment plan. So let us take a hypothetical stock and let's build a systematic investment plan for it. And by the way, it's a very smart technique to invest your money. So it kind of gives you an inbuilt uh, diversification benefit, so to say, the time diversification, where you instead of putting all your money in one go, you just split it into smaller pieces over a period of time. So let's take stock price. So we'll have time, price, and amount invested. Okay. So time 0, time 1, time 2, time 3. So we'll take probably this just 4 data points. So let me just avoid this. That might create confusion. So let's just say price and amount. So in the first month or at the beginning, the price of a particular stock was 20 per unit. So let's say $20 per unit. Then in the next month, the price of that stock became $40 per unit. Then the price is again increasing, and it reaches up to 100, and then it kind of shoots up. It goes crazy and it reaches 250. Now, as an investor, the amount that you want to invest every month is $1,000 flat. Okay, so it's a very practical scenario now, and that probably concerns to all of you. How many of you are investing through SIP right now? Can you just raise your hands, please? Yeah, so we have large number of participants. So this is useful for you. This statistics that I'm showing you, that's going to come in very handy now. So my question to you is, every month, you're buying $1,000 worth of this stock. My question is very simple. What is the average price? What is the average price at which you have acquired the stock? Get me that, and more or less you've understood this concept. What is the average price at which you have been able to acquire the stock? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to work with this. Calculate an average price, please. Just keep on. It's okay. I am not going to disappear. Just solve the question. I do that once in a while to give myself a little break from the camera. Okay, so I've started getting answers. Shubha is saying 102, Ashish is 44, Kavita 102, Rajesh 56, 102, 44. See, such an easy question. And all of us are working professionals and investing money. At least some of us are investing money, and we're still somehow not getting this right. Nebanita, oh, by the way, hi Nebanita, 44, Prasad 102, Sarang 44, Shahrukh. Okay. All right, now let me do this for you. Let me do this for you. Observe how. Let's first do the wrong way. Let's do it this the wrong way. What would be wrong way if you use an arithmetic mean here? If anyone did this, 20 plus 40 plus 100 plus 250 divided by 4. If you did this, you actually made a mistake. You got the wrong answer. Let's see how much we get here. So 60, 160, 310, 410. So this should be 102.5. So all those of you who on the chat box have given 102.5, what you did is you used a wrong mean in a wrong situation. I mean, you should ask that whoever created this, at least I used to have this question in the school, that why have they created this so many different types of means, right? And the answer to that is they've created different types of mean because in different situations, we need a different one. So this 102.5 is not going to work. So then what is the right way to do it? So let's solve this question using the Jugaad way. So what's the Jugaad way? By the way, now this is officially an English word, though Hindi origin. Jugaad means, okay, how can I translate Jugaad to traditional English? Let's say improvisation. So let's use some sort of an improvisation technique here. So what technique? So you ask yourself, uh, how many stocks will I be able to buy in each of the scenario, right? So ask yourself about quantity. So I'm investing $1,000 and one stock is coming from for $20. So how many stocks do you think I'll be able to buy in $1,000? 50. So in the first month, I must have got a quantity of 50. Let's look at second month. One price is 40 and this is 1,000. How many quantity do you think you'd get? You would get 25. Good. How about third month? $100, $1,000. How much quantity do you think you can buy? Now you can buy 10 quantity. And finally, 1,000 and 250, the quantity that you're looking at is going to be 4, right? So this is our quantity. Now, what is the amount that I've invested? So every month I was investing $1,000. So every month, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So now what I'm going to do is just figure out, just use a simple common sense approach rather than a statistician's approach. I will say, see, total amount that I've invested in this stock so far is $4,000. And when I open my account, I can see that I have 75, 85, 89 shares with me. So what is the average that I've paid per stock? So I've paid 4,000. I've got 89 shares. How much is that coming to? I've paid 4,000. I've got 89 shares. So which means on an average, one share has costed me 44.94. 44.94. Now, how many of you solved this using this technique? Can you raise your hands or just say me on the chat box? Right, about 6, 8 people, 10 people. Good to know that. So this is one way of doing it. Now, alternatively, you can simply say that statisticians have created tools for us to employ in different situations. So what we can simply do is, let me use a beautiful green here. So what we can simply do is we can calculate a different type of mean called as the harmonic mean, which is kind of built for just a situation like this. So harmonic mean has a fancy formula. If you think of it, it is n divided by 1 by x1 plus 1 by x2 plus up to 1 by xn. Okay, and don't be intimidated with this formula. It just looks little fancy, but it's very simple. Just ask yourself how many values I have. I have 4 values, so 4 divided by, what was the first price? 20. So 1 divided by 20 plus, what was the second price? 40. So 1 divided by 40. What was the third price? 100. So 1 divided by 100. And the last price? 250. So 1 divided by 250. There you go. You need to just solve this equation and you're going to get the same answer. Let's see if we do. So I'm doing it on my calculator. I'll you guys also try doing it on yours. So first I'm going to solve for denominator, 1 divided by 20, then 1 divided by 40. I'm using a memory function in the calculator. If you don't know how to use it, don't worry. I'll be showing it to you next class. And 1 divided by 250. So STO 4. And then 4 divided by, let me just get all the calculations in place. And when I do this, I would get exactly the same answer, 44.94. 44.94. That is my harmonic mean. So how do we know we had to use harmonic mean here? So typically, the way you want to think of this is, if you're going to invest a constant amount every month, every year, what was the constant amount here? What was the constant amount here? $1,000, right? So if you are going to invest a constant amount every month, then the mean that you want to use in that kind of context is a harmonic mean, because that's going to get you the correct average that you need. Okay, so let's do one more practice question. Let's see if you feel comfortable with that. Let me do it super fast now. Price and the amount. Price, do it in this corner now. Price and amount. And this time what I'll suggest, you quickly just use the formula and see if the logic works. Price and amount. 40, 60, 120, and 150. And the amount that you're going to invest every month is 600. So you're going to invest 600 every month. Calculate an average price. All right, here's how you do it. How many data points do we have here? We have 4 data points. So 4 divided by 1 divided by 40 plus 1 divided by 60 plus 1 divided by 120 and 1 divided by 150. So you just take an inverse of a reciprocal of each of those numbers. And when you do the math, I'm guessing you get 70.58, and then there you go. That is your harmonic mean. So arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. We've learned 3 different types of means. When do you use when? So when you're dealing with percentages, like typically stock return or those kind of situations, you generally want to use a geometric mean. That's an appropriate way to do it. If you're dealing with uh, a constant amount investment every month type of scenario, now it's actually a ratio scenario, but I'm just trying to simplify for you. If you have a constant amount type of situation, then the mean that you're going to use is harmonic mean. And in most of the other cases, you're going to use geometric mean. Sorry, most of the other cases, you're going to use arithmetic mean. So that's how you look at 3 different types of mean and their usages. Are you comfortable with this? Okay. Now, Ashutosh has asked a brilliant question. What I want you to do, Ashutosh, is just raise your hand and I'll enable your video, audio, and then you ask that question so that it gets recorded and everyone gets to know what you're asking. Okay.
Yeah, hi. Utkarsh.
Hi,
So, I
Ashutosh.
mean, we are considering the amount is getting constant every month. So we are in position to use this method. But what if the amount get changed, let's say 1200 or any other amount other than 600? Then how we should be able to use this method to get this harmonic mean?
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate and great question. And I think someone else on the chat box also asked the same. And the answer is the method will still work, but we'll have to modify it a little bit. Okay, so we'll have to, that's the beauty of statistics, right? Once you have all the tools, you just need to figure out which tool to be used where. So let me show you an example now. So let us say price. Let us say price and the amount. Okay. So let's take price of, I'm just going to keep round figure numbers so it will be easier. 10, 20, 50, and 100. And let us say what you were doing is you were investing 1,000 here. Then suddenly you thought, okay, I want to invest 2,000. I want to invest 2,000. And then in this year, suddenly you changed your mind and you decided to invest 5,000. Now what you want to do is you want to do an average price. So let's do it the wrong way first, just to learn what could be wrong way. So this is the wrong way number one. Okay, what is that? Calculating an arithmetic mean. So if you do 10, 20, 50 plus 100 divided by 4, this is wrong. It's going to get you a wrong answer. So this is out of question. Let's do wrong 2. Let's do the second wrong method. So wrong 2 method. Is the red visible properly on a green? Okay, good. So wrong 2 method. If you do a plain vanilla harmonic mean, where you say 4 divided by 1 by 10 plus 1 by 20 plus 1 by 50 plus 1 by 100. If you do this, this is also going to get you a wrong answer. So what is the correct way to do it? So here's the correct method 1, which is a jugaad method, an improvisation method. So let's do a jugaad method here, which is the correct way to do it. Okay. So what would be that? So we simply calculate quantity. How do we calculate quantity? 10,000. How many shares will you get? You will get 100 shares. 20, 2,000. How many shares will you get? 100 shares. 50, 2,000. How many shares will you get? Now you'll get 40 shares. And 100, 5,000. How many shares will you get? 50 shares. So what is the total quantity you've got? 200 and 40, 50, 290. And what is the amount we have invested? 1,000 plus 2,000, 3 plus 2, 5 plus 5, 10. So total amount we've invested is 10,000. So 10,000 divided by 290. Tell me, how much is that? 10,000 divided by 290. How much are you getting here? 34.38. So this is your correct answer, right? This is how you can get the answer. But how can we do that in statistics with the help of the formula? So this is the another correct way to do it. This is another correct way to do it. Now this correct method, it is still harmonic mean. I'm still going to use harmonic mean. But of course, now you might be a little confused because a method 2 was a harmonic mean and that was wrong. So how I'm going to change that? So this time I'm going to do a weighted harmonic mean. Okay. So I'm going to insert weights into my calculation. So see how I'm going to do it now. 1 divided by, not 4, 1 divided by. Now this gets a little technical. I will need about 30 minutes to explain you how that formula gets derived. Maybe I'll do it in the next class, but here I will not have 4 in the numerator. I will have 1 in the numerator divided by the usual calculation. 1 by 10 plus 1 by 20 plus 1 by 50 plus let me write that the last value here, 1 by 100. However, to these values, I'm going to assign them weights. So how will I get the weights? Observe. I invested 1,000 at this price and my total investment was 10,000. So can you tell me what was the percentage of amount that I invested at that valuation? I invested 1,000, right? And my total investment was 10,000. So 1,000 is what percentage of 10,000? 10 percentage. So to this, I'm going to assign a 10 percentage probability. In the same fashion, 2,000 as a ratio to 10,000. 2,000 as a ratio to 10,000. 20%, correct. In the same fashion, 2,000 as a ratio to 10,000. So this also gets a probability of 20%. And finally, 5,000 as a ratio to 10,000. So this will get probability of another 50%. So there you go. That's your situation here. You still do a harmonic mean, but you do a different type of harmonic mean. We call this type of mean as a weighted harmonic mean. So you take them and multiply, do the math. If you have a calculator, do it yourself. But I'm very sure that when you do this, you'd get the same answer of 34.38. Does it answer your question, Ashutosh? Good. Sure. Yes, guys. Okay. So we went a little slower than what I would have liked today, but that's okay. I'm guessing we have a lot of beginners in the class, which makes sense to build a good foundation. But in case if there's anyone who thought that you did not understand, or maybe I was too technical, just reach out to me after the class. So I'll give you some assignments to work on. So it's see, all of us are starting at different level of skills. Some of us are already very comfortable with maths. Some of us are just starting out. I'm trying to keep myself as low as possible. But if you still feel that this was too technical or it was a little difficult for you, just reach out to me on WhatsApp. All of you have my number, and then I'll give you some assignments to work with. And if required, I can also take extra classes for you guys, so that we are good with basics. Okay. Why is the numerator not 4? I mean, why is the numerator 1 here? So that will require me some time to explain. Probably we'll do it in the next class. It will take us at least 30 minutes. But if you need a quick answer, if you need a super quick answer, here is the answer. Even this is not 4. Even this can be 1 if I multiply each one of them with 25%. So if I multiply each one of these with 25%, I can change the numerator to 1. So this was a harmonic mean with an equal weight, right? But again, as I said, this gets a little technical. So give me a chance to explain this in the next week. I think you'd appreciate that better. What is my number to reach out? Let me put that in the chat box. It's a WhatsApp number. My typical response time these days is 2 to 3 days. Okay, I think it's Ayush. Can you just copy paste and put that for attendees as well, please? I'm not able to type in here for some reason. Ayush, just copy the number and post it for panelists as well as attendees. You'd see that option in the chat box. Okay, thank you, Ayush. Appreciate it. So yeah, that's my number. It's an India number, so you'll have to, in case if you're not in India right now, you'd have to do +91 and the number, and then just send it to me over WhatsApp. I'll be able to help you out. Okay, so let me map out the game plan. So now we have 2 more classes where I'm going to work with your basics. Okay, so here's what I'm going to expect you to do. Your next session is going to be on 13th, right? So 13th session. Now on 13th, what we would be doing is we would be having a longer session. So on 13th, we would probably be using entire 4 hours. And what we would do on this session is we will learn how to use the calculator, the Texas Instrument calculator. So we will learn how to use calculator, and we would learn time value of money. So it's important that you have access to calculator Saturday so that we get this session. Tejas, I've already been waiting for a while now because I generally do calculator as a first class, but I understood because of the whole COVID situation, I delayed that a little bit. Okay, there's going to be a small internet glitch, but it'll improve. Can you please confirm if you can hear me properly? All right, thank you. So 13th is when we do the calculator class, and then a week after that, which is then we reach on to what would be the next Saturday, 19th. So 19th is when we start with financial markets and products, which is a subject in FRM part 1. I'm going to start in sequence. I'm going to do banks. So I'll first 2 classes I'll do theory or easy topics with you, and at the same time I will keep on giving you certain assignments, and then we will go on some technical calculation type of stuff. Okay, so you can expect to receive a more granular schedule in this week. Okay, before I start with the actual FRM part 1 topics with you, this is where you can expect to receive a schedule from me. And sorry, made I make a mistake? 20th. My apologies for this Saturday. Sorry, Sunday. So this is where you can. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm messing with my dates. I miscalculated. I'm so sorry there. Okay, next Sunday happens to be on 14th, not 13th. So 14th is this class. And after that, we have 21st. Okay, thank you very much. So you can expect to receive a schedule in this window when we finalize it. Okay, in the meanwhile, what you guys need to do is you need to get added to my broadcast list. I did shoot a message to some people, but I could not add everyone. So maybe tomorrow, somewhere in the second half, I'll get added. I'll add everyone in the broadcast list, and I'll send you a message. Some of you might have received from me, and those of you who did not, you would receive on Monday in the second half. If you do not get a communication from me on Monday around the same time, then you can safely assume that you're not added, and then just reach out to me. I'll add you manually. Okay, so that we start receiving all the communication with each other. In the meanwhile, what I want you to buy, as we discussed earlier, you're going to get the calculator. It's extremely important that you have calculator with you till next Sunday, so that we can make use of it during the class. So get access to your calculator. Second thing that I want you to do is get the card books. Okay, so especially when we start studying the banks topic, it is going to be handy if you have access to that book ready with you. If it's difficult on Amazon, Tejas, probably try some other sites, or check your local stationery store. I think most of these will have them with them. And if that's not available, then try with Om Book Center or Mahakali Book Center from Mumbai. Just search for these guys online. Call these people. They will ship the calculator to your place. Yeah, so Mumbai, Mahakali, it's available. So you can also try with them. So those guys will share everywhere. So they're pretty good results. Okay, anything else? We have 10-15 minutes before I round up the session. If you'd like to ask any queries with respect to session today, if you have any doubts. Have you started studying? Last week, I'd asked you to prepare for banks. Did you do it? Okay. So this week you guys prepare on the next topic. Let me just look at the hierarchy and on the LMS. Wait a minute, please. Okay, I'll open up the FinTree site quickly. All right, so this is the FinTree LMS. You guys should be able to see this three blue icons within your FRM Part 1 login, learn, practice, and revise. So in the learn window, I want you to go to financial markets and products. And then these are the topics that we are starting in sequence. So you're going to start with banks. Here, what I'm expecting, it requires you to invest roughly about an hour to go through this topic. And what you're going to do is you're just going to go through all of these learning outcomes. Okay, so that's roughly the sequence. And after banks, then if you have finished banks, that's a great news. Then this week you spend some time on insurance. Okay, so insurance, the total time you'd have to invest is again roughly about an hour, relatively easy to handle. So just spend some basic time, go through these videos, and if possible, read through the GARP material. So that's roughly the sequence we're looking at. And this is how I'm going to start your classes. I'm going to take each of these sections and we'll try to finish them. Of course, there would be a lot of theory topics. For example, we have stuff like OTC markets or central clearing here. So some of the topics I'll just ask you to watch videos by yourself and not cover them in a live class, so that we'll be able to optimize the time that we spent on the class together. Okay, so that's roughly how we would be working in the partnership. I'm thinking we'll have your first weekly test in the last week of this month. So as I discussed earlier, every week we would be having some sort of a testing mechanism, and you would also get a testing calendar for it, that what questions would be tested on what week, and even that testing calendar would be shared to you along with the classroom schedule. How much time one should require for FRM assuming work commitments? That's the question I'm getting from Sunny. So Sunny, I'll recommend at least 2 hours a day. At least 2 hours a day is what you want to invest for studies. Um, so generally, if you have a window of let's say 5 months, 2 hours a day on weekdays, and cumulative 15 hours over weekends, that does the job for a window of 5 to 6 months. Uh, but if you feel that you want to do less on weekdays and more on weekends, as long as you are able to manage about 25 hours a week, you're okay there. Okay, so figure out how that equation works for you, but that's roughly the run rate that we're looking at. I've started with banks. Should I continue with the next chapters in sequence? Yes. Continue with the next chapter, absolutely. Khyati is asking, can we refer to the Schwezer notes instead of GARP? Okay. I know, GARP is going to be troublesome initially. I know that GARP is not as easy to read as compared to Schwezer notes. But trust me, in the long run, reading GARP is going to help dramatically. See, all this while, I used to recommend people to read Schwezer because GARP themselves had very lousy study material. But this time what they've done is they've consolidated everything. You don't have to go and buy 10 different books for yourself. You just get those GARP notes and they will have everything, including the practice question. They've put in about 20 questions after every reading. So what I would recommend is get the GARP material. If you have to have Schwezer, have it. Use it if it's necessary once in a while, but focus more on the GARP study material. And in the long run, that will pay off. Which books to buy for FRM, any author? Somesh, no books at all. Just get GARP material, GARP. How can we test our understanding on these topics once we're done? Are there any questions on LMS? So you'd find some Q&A videos on LMS. In FRM Part 1, we also have this section on the website, which comes under the practice, where you'd find some of the practice quizzes. Now, we don't have practice quizzes for all the topics, but we have for some important ones. For example, let's say some of the basics, let us say corporate bonds. So if you go on this section, you'd find a few questions. Now, a lot of these questions we picked up from the CFA content or different sources. Okay, this is something strange here. But nevertheless, you'd be able to get an access to this quiz. So you can practice. This has about 20-30 questions. This is one source of practice for you. Then apart from that, within videos, you might find some practice questions. Typically, let's see if you find something here. If I open Foreign Exchange, you might find some Q&A videos. This has a small Q&A video, not big ones. And then most of your practice would be done through the weekly test that we would be sharing with you. So that's going to be your primary source of practice. How to get access to the GARP material? What I'll recommend is you reach out to any of my colleagues at FinTree and request with them. They'll give you some ideas on how you can get access to the GARP material. Okay. All right, guys. So I think let's call it a day. Before I do it, let me quickly check if you have anything on YouTube that deserves attention. Just a minute. Is weekly test also available for online students? So now, anyways, with this live webinars, the classroom online has kind of become same for us. So anyone who's participating in this live program that I'm doing, Rima, weekly test would be shared. Ashok Kumar, just get in touch with the team. Any colleagues with FinTree, you can set up some time. We can have a Zoom call or a phone call as well. Okay. All right then. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. And if you did, especially the ones on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And then I'll see you guys next week.